Greetings and welcome to another installment from the Patchwork Productionz Learn to Crochet for Beginners series.
In this video, you will learn how to make a watermelon pillow.
For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Stitch, and Patchwork Productionz is all about learning and doing crochet. So make sure you subscribe so you never miss another installment. Without further ado, let's get started. So for this video, we're going to be making ourselves another pillow. After my first pillow video that I did, which was the 4-leaf clover pillow, it was a square pillow, 12-inch pillow, I really liked the pillow. I just loved it, and I was like, I'm gonna make another one. And recently I made the watermelon applique tutorial. It's just a little watermelon. I think I have it somewhere around here. I can't find it. But I was like, oh, what if I made myself a watermelon pillow? And so that's what I was going to do, but I wanted to make this pillow special. This pillow is going to be extremely easy. I'm going to call it a seamless pillow, even though that's completely not true. But with the last pillow, I had made a bunch of sections. The back piece was a large square, 12-inch by 12-inch, and then there were 4 smaller squares on the front that were 6-inch by 6-inch each, and I joined all of those together. This pillow is going to be a circle. It's going to be a circle, and instead of joining pieces together, you're going to join your yarn to your work and simply build in the round and close the circle. So you're not going to have to use the yarn needle to join separate pieces of the pillow together. It's going to be built all into the one piece. You'll still need to join together things like the seeds, which I'll show you how to make, but it's really very easy. So there's not going to be much to this. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but the skills you need to make this pillow are basic. Anyone can make this. So basically what I have here is just some double crochets worked in the round. And what I did for this pillow, well, let me start off with the most important things. Yarn color is your choosing. I'm using the same pink and the same green that I used from the watermelon applique tutorial, and I may possibly, I don't know, end up using another green as a little transition. You know, watermelon has, you know, the part everyone eats, then that kind of watery green part, and then the skin. Yeah, well, I might add the little watery green piece if I can find a compatible green. I don't have very many compatible greens. I have a few greens, but they're interesting. So I may just stick with this. I may add another one. It's all up to you. They're all weight 4. And you have black for the seeds. I used a 5.75 millimeter hook, a J10, for this piece, and I'll use it for the rest of the working in the round. For the seeds, I used an I9. This would be a 5.25 millimeter hook. That's what I used for making the seeds. So that's out of the way. For the round, I did a circle join kind of, that might be the wrong term, but I didn't do spiral round. So if you want to know the more in-depth tutorial on working in the round, I have a video on that. But basically, spiral round is you just keep going around, whereas this method I'm talking about, I'll just call it a circle join for now. Basically, when I join, I use double crochets to raise the height. So I'll join each end of the row, each piece of the row with a slip stitch, do a double crochet, or I should say a chain 3, and then make the rest of the round. Now, some people count that chain 3 as a stitch, and some people don't count it as a stitch. In this particular round that I've done, I did not count it as a stitch. It is just a chain that's going up through here. So if you look, you can see all through my round, oops, the string's in the way, all through the round, you can see that this chain is just here. And it kind of leaves a space going through here. If you don't like that, you can do it differently. You can count the double crochet, the chain 3 as a stitch, or you can you can find a way to modify it to suit your needs. For me, this was enough. So basically when I get to the end of each of my rounds, I'll join to that chain, to the top of the chain 3 again, and move on. But that chain is not counted in my stitches. So there's that. I started with 12 double crochets in the chain, I think I did a magic circle. Yep, I did magic circle. So I started with 12 double crochets there and then continued the round pattern so I get a flat round. And as you can see, I have divisions. Oh, you can barely see with the way I'm doing this. You can see divisions of 12. You can't really see very well on the camera. Instead of divisions of 6, because sometimes you'd start with 6. This is that looks more like a circle and less like a hexagon. So there's that, and I did 12 rounds. And this is my method of marking my rounds, which is just weaving a string through there. I also have a video on that. But so I can easily count how many rounds I've done. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, and actually 10. Pfft, I said 12. Yes, so we have actually 10 rounds. Correction. But yes, so see, I can easily count how many rounds I have. So the way this project is going to continue, I'll show you how to make the seeds. Basically what we're going to do is, well, I did a slip stitch around the edge after I made these 10 rounds. So I did a slip stitch around the edge. Now you may have seen in some of my previous videos that I used the slip stitch as a method of rotating my project 90 degrees, so to speak, so that I can continue to work out. I've used this in a few projects, primarily, I believe, let me see if I get this, yes, my crochet hook case video, which actually, I have that right here, which it is still very messy, because I did not bother dealing with any of the threads. But if you look back here, the seam that I used for my binding, this is actually one solid rectangle, but these these rows right here are slip stitches, and then I worked in the middle of those, and it causes this to be more 90 degrees so I can make it like a book. That's how I made my binding. So this is the similar effect I'm trying to get with this. The difference is this is still going to be the front. Mind you, this may change later. I have a tendency to change my patterns mid-project. But my idea is that what I'll do instead is, let me show you. My idea is that I'll come to the back here. Hope you can see this. You'll come to the back here, and then you're gonna find, which is gonna be awkward for the first couple of rounds, and then it'll be fine. You're gonna find where there is the stitch. So let's see here. I believe, if I'm looking at this correctly, this right here is gonna be the stitch for this post. And then this is going to be the stitch, and it's going to look funny because of the slip stitch. So you're just going to go to the back to where you can see the back of the stitch, and I'm thinking I'm going to try to use that back piece, make myself 2 loops that correlate with that post, and if I can get my yarn properly, let's try to do this. Make myself, whoops, I'm doing the wrong kind of stitch here. I need to do 1, 2, 3, and then come to the back here. Oh, this is so awkward and the camera is getting all blurry. Got it. Just like this, and then continue all the way around. So I do the next one, like, well, I didn't do a double crochet. But yes, this is the idea that I have for how I would be able to do that. And I'm going to go all the way around. I'm probably going to do 1, maybe 2 rounds of the pink for that row, for those rounds, and then I'm going to switch to my other color, the green, and finish it. Then I'm going to get my seeds here and stick them on. I'm going to make 6 of these. So I'll show you how to make the seeds. So to make the seeds, it's really simple. So you're going to have to follow along because there's not really any markers or anything. And it's basically just 2 rounds minus the little foundation chainy piece. So I'm going to hold it as close as I possibly can with this thing focused, and I'll be able to show you. So this is as good as I'm going to get it. You're going to do 5 chains. 5 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then what I did to make this easy is I worked in the back loops. We're doing this by working into both sides of the chain to make a round as opposed to working around normally. And in some cases I just used the front and back loop, front on the first pass, back on the last pass, on the next pass. But it can get a little confusing with the way the pattern is. So I'm going to work in the back loop instead. So you're going to work into the second chain from the hook, so that would be the 4th. And you're going to work 4 single crochets. Oops, and I cannot get into this loop for the life of me. Alright, so we're going to work 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you're going to work into the next 3 stitches with just a single crochet. So 1, okay, 2, 3. And you see this is worked into the back loop of those chains. Now we're going to go to the other side. So you're going to find the 2 loops that correspond with the same stitch on the other side. And you're going to work a single crochet into that. Oopsie, there we go. 1, going to go into the next 2 loops. 2, next 2 loops. 3. So it'll look something like this. So you're working in both sides of the stitch as you're going around. First in the back loops, then into the 2 loops. First into the back hump of the chain, and then into the 2 loops of the chain on your way back. Now this last stitch, it has a very large hole. So that's how we know that that's our last chain, because we worked 4 single crochets into it, so it got a larger hole. More space is required, and so we're going to again work 4 single crochets. 2, 3. Now in the process of working these 4 single crochets, the 5th chain that we didn't work into, that we worked into the 4th, so that 5th chain is kind of staying there. You're going to end up covering that with your last single crochet that you make. And the way you'll know you have this right is if you count all your stitches around minus that 5th chain, which you would have covered, so you won't see it if you got this right. You'll have 14 stitches. So let's count. Make sure I know where I am. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Perfect. 14. And so now all you do is work a single crochet all the way around in those 14 and end with a slip stitch in the next stitch. So I'm going to do that. 14, and so into the next stitch we're going to work a slip stitch, and that's where it all ends. So let's just cut this, and you want to leave some yarn behind on both ends. Sadly, I left little on this end, but I have some here, because that's what we can use to join it to the circle of the watermelon. And I only made 6. I may or may not make more, but my goal is to have them sort of just arranged. It's a simple design, it's nothing much, but just arranged evenly around the watermelon circle piece here. And I'm missing one. There he is. Right like this. Something along those lines. You can do whatever you want. You can make more watermelons, smaller watermelon seeds. More seeds, smaller seeds. Make a lot of fewer seeds, whatever. So I'm gonna do some rounds of this, and I said 1 or 2. I may end up doing more because this pillow needs to be, you know, sufficiently thick, if you know what I mean. I don't want a thin wafer pillow, but I'm going to do some rounds of this. Then I'm going to switch to probably this. I don't think I'll have another green to do, but we'll see. And I'll work a few rounds of that, and then it's time to close the circle. And the way you do it, I'll tell you now, but I'll probably come back and show you just to help out. But the way you do that is, wherever you left off in your pattern here, you're going to reverse that. So where you would do an increase, you're going to do a decrease. So let's say, I don't know if I can count here my pattern. I have double here. Let's do it this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then an increase. So for here, where I ended is I do 7 double crochets, and then in the next stitch I do a double crochet increase. This is not including my chain because my chain is not counted as a stitch in the project, in the count. So what I would do when I go to close it, after I build up my pink and then build up my green, like let's say we do 2 rows of the pink and 3 rows of the green, then to close it, what I do is I do 7 double crochets, and then instead of an increase, I would do a double crochet decrease. So it would be a 2 double crochet together. And then I continue that pattern all the way around, and then the next time, because normally when we're increasing, we go up. So from this, if I wanted to make this bigger, I've had 7 double crochets and then an increase, I would do 8 double crochets and then an increase. Well, we're decreasing. So what you would do is, you would do 7 double crochets and then a decrease, and the next time you're going to do 6 double crochets and then a decrease. And the next round, you're going to do a 5 double crochets and then a decrease, and you're going to do it all the way around repeating. And that's how we're going to close the circle back, so that we never have to join 2 pieces together. I'll probably come back and show, hopefully I should say, come back and show you how that's going to work. But that is what I'm going to do. So you know how to make the seeds, you know how to work in the round. I'm going to come back when this project is mostly done. And of course, before we finish sealing that circle, we've got to put in our stuffing, which I have somewhere around here, the famous polyfill stuffing that we need to put in here. So I shall return when more of this is completed. Alright, so I've done quite a bit on my pillow here. I did the seeds, I put the seeds on, and I did a very simple join for it. I just picked a row, took the top yarn that was attached to the seed, and fed it through the back, and then just joined it between two of the stitches. You can join it however you like. I kind of wish I had showed you guys exactly how I joined one of these, but I forgot, so be creative, but you can pretty much put them anywhere. I kind of found the dividing sections, because it's divided in 12 because I started with 12 double crochets, so the pattern goes up in splits of 12 instead of 6. So I put them on those joins just to make it even, and I picked 2 rows that they would go between so that it's all constant. That's part of the reason that we're using the circle join method as opposed to the spiral, because then we can join all of the rows the same. When you do the spiral, it's really hard to get rows the same because as you move across, the rows are going to shift, so it gets awkward, believe me. So what I also did was I did the green. I said I probably wouldn't do the green, and I ended up doing the green. Hopefully this works. These 2 greens work together pretty well, and these 3 colors have kind of the same, I don't know how to call it, but I think they work together. So I ended up using the green. You don't have to, but I did, so I just did an extra round, or I say an extra. One of the rounds I just changed colors to this. I did 2 rounds of the pink after the slip stitch, 1 round of this light green, and now I'm doing the dark green. So real quick, I said I would explain how you close this up. Basically, we're doing the same thing that we did up here. I did a round of slip stitches, but instead of, with this one we did the slip stitch and then worked on the back side, and we're kind of doing the same thing with this one. I did the slip stitch, and just like here, I'm gonna work on the back of it on the inside so that we can shrink the circle in flat. Now there's a good reason why I'm using the slip stitch. 2 reasons. Number 1, it kind of looks nice. I like it. Number 2, especially since this is double crochet, if you simply started closing your round, let's just say your pillow would have more of a bulge. This is going to give it more of a form, a shape. This is going to be a flat piece. This is going to be the round piece. If I just from here went straight up and from here went straight in, it would be more of a round pillow. So if you want to do that, you can absolutely eliminate the slip stitch, but it will have an effect. And because this is double crochet, it'll actually take twice as long to look like it's closing, unlike with single crochet. So you can experiment with that for yourself, but that's why we're doing this. So real quick, because we gotta finish this pillow, I'm gonna show you how this closing up works. Again, I'm working, this is the slip stitch that I worked, but I'm not working into it. I'm working into the back piece so that it's on the inside. As you can see here, I've created another edge. And basically, for me, my pattern stopped here where I have 7 double crochets and then a double crochet increase. You can see here. So what you do is, I did 1 over here. You do 7 double crochets, but then you do a double crochet decrease. And I'm going to show you a special kind of decrease. I'm not sure if I showed this before. It's usually referred to as an invisible decrease because the way it's done, it looks less noticeable. So let me show you. So I have 7 double crochets here, and I need to join 2 double crochets to make 1 to do a decrease. That's how decreases work. And so for this special decrease, now, warning, or I should say disclaimer, it is a little challenging. So you don't have to do it, but if you want to, you can. So here's how it works. And it's also challenging because of the way I'm doing this. If it were working into regular stitches, it would be a little easier. But we're going to start as if we're doing a double crochet. We're going to find the 2 stitches. Again, I'm doing this differently, so you're just going to have to watch carefully how I find my 2 stitches here. However you're doing it, I'm kind of working into the 2 loops that are behind a post of the double crochet at the back, which is the easiest way to get 2 loops. So however you managed to do it probably is okay. So I'm going to work into that. Now this is not a double crochet 2 together. That's different. I have a video on that. You can do that as a decrease. That works, but this is a special kind. So this is the invisible decrease. So watch. We stuck our hook in here, right? We're going to find the 2nd stitch and we're going to work under both of those loops. So we haven't drawn a loop. We're going under both. So this can get a little tricky. Now we're going to draw through the first one and the second one. So now we've got both of them and we have 3 loops for a double crochet. Oops, slipped. We finish the double crochet and wow, we have done a decrease, but now there's only 1 post for a double crochet as opposed to sometimes with the double crochet 2 together, you'll have 2. It just depends on how you do the different stitches, but this is a way you can do the decrease. But that's basically what you're going to do, and because we have patterns of 12, you're going to do this 12 times. So for where I am, I'm going to do 7 double crochets and a double crochet decrease 12 times, and when I come back, I'm now going to do 6 double crochets and a double crochet decrease, and I'm going to do that to close it up. And of course, before you finish sealing it up, you're going to want to put your poly stuffing on the inside. So I'll finish all of this, and then we'll come back when this is done. So it's done! Well, sort of, which I'll get to, but isn't this just great? I love it, I love it! So I stuffed it, and I couldn't decide how much to put, but of course that's all up to you, all your decision. When I'm done, I'll pull out my round marker, which I'll do. Now to talk to something very important. The back. There's a few things I'd like to make a note about here. Number one, you may be perplexed by the large holes at the back, and there is a reason for this which I can explain. 2 reasons. Reason number 1, I happen to crochet just a little looser than I might normally have wanted to. And so that looseness means that when you when you work into the round that you did loose, it's going to pull more and you're going to see the holes a lot better. I'm not too concerned because, well, this is the side of importance, but you might be concerned. So just as a note, how loose you do your stitches is going to be a factor. Now, the other thing that is important is the fact that we are working back in. So as opposed to working out that we did at the front, this we're going reverse. So that's going to have a couple of impacts, one of them being you're going to be able to see these holes a lot better, because basically imagine the stitch like the V that you work into, but with the post flipped. That's basically what we've done. And that leads to the second thing that you'll encounter, which is this large hole, even after finishing all your rotations, that you have 12 stitches remaining, which is what we had at the beginning. So if I count this, we're going to have, let me do it so I can see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, not including the chain. That's what you're supposed to have, but it doesn't look like this. And that's because here the posts are pointing outward, and so the stitches are on the outside, whereas here the stitches are technically, it's not precise, but technically the stitches are in the same exact place as here, except the posts are facing outside as well. So they're, or I should have said the posts here are facing inward. That's their origin. It's facing inward. And then here they're facing outward. So the way you fix this, which is fixable, is just, let me cut my yarn, and I'm going to cut quite a bit, and I had my needle here. You're just going to take your yarn needle and some yarn that is the yarn that you ended with. So you should have slip stitched, you should have slip stitched into the top chain of your chain 3 when you finished. And so you're just gonna treat that as a fasten off for the purpose of this. So before we continue, you see this loop that's remaining here, we're just gonna feed right through that and tie it. So there, it's tied off. And now all we're gonna do is we're gonna go through the stitches. I hope you can see this. Let me see if I can hold it close. You're just gonna go through the stitches, weaving back and forth under the V's. And basically we are doing what I shall dub a reverse magic circle. I don't think this actually has a name, but just to give you an idea of what we're doing. So by feeding this through these V's, the stitches, we are going to be able to cinch the yarn and close up that circle. And behold, like this. So it gives the effect of what we did here in the front with the magic circle. So then all you have to do is find a place to tie it off, which for that I shall simply do a loop right here. And before I do that, pull, insert through the center, keep pulling so it's nice and tight, and boom. There. Have a knot, and I can put this somewhere where I'm done. Usually I just stuff it in the pillow. So another note, which I don't know if I'll end up changing. I mean, I have enough holes to do it. No. But if you have this stretched issue at the back, another reason could be too much stuffing, which, I don't know. Maybe I put too much stuffing. I couldn't decide how much stuffing to put. But yeah, so that's another thing that can fix that, because with less stuffing, the stitches will be more relaxed, and so they'll be closer together. So just some notes. I will be honest and say I made some mistakes in this. Thankfully, the instructions I told you, if you happen to not make any mistakes with yours, you'll be fine. But I did make a couple of mistakes. One thing is that I I misdid some of these sections, the sections of 12 to build the round. I have some where it's short some place and long another place, but the reason I didn't notice immediately, aside from the fact that I didn't pay attention, was that the count, the number of stitches I needed, added up. So I didn't realize. So I didn't do it to a miscount. The count was correct, but the pattern was wrong. And it ended up affecting me later. So I had to do some slight adjustments to get everything to work. They were minor, but just as a note, because, you know, I gotta be honest, you do make mistakes with this stuff. And something that can just help as a tip, something I have to do certainly, is whenever you make a project and you happen to make a few mistakes, just take note of them so that the next time, you know, well, you can avoid that mistake. Now, you can see here the slip stitch piece that I had you guys do to keep its form. Again, you can test this for yourself, but had you not done that, this would be a lot more round. This slip stitch contains the shape of the two discs here. So this has a slight bulge, but it's not as round. Believe me, it would not necessarily look like this, but it wouldn't be bad. So whatever you choose. So basically this is it. Also, another note, as far as the decrease I was telling you about, I made a slight mistake. I say mistake. So remember, and I left it so I could show you. Remember I told you you go into both the loops and then pull. That's correct, except you're only supposed to go into the front loop of whatever stitches you're doing your invisible decrease in. So this one, I just continue to do it. This is just the invisible decrease, but I went under both loops. And what happens is, because it draws both loops, the loops make that whole the hole around the stitch larger, because the loops are thicker as opposed to just one joined together. It's two overlapping, so they pull more of the yarn of the stitches below them, and so the holes are larger. But now I can attempt, because this is why it's the invisible decrease, it's harder to see. Here's one. This is the invisible decrease, only worked in the front loop, and as you can see, it pulls less of that yarn from the bottom. There is still a larger hole beside it, as opposed to regular stitches, but it's not as big as this one, in my opinion. You might think otherwise. It's fine. So just as a note, and it also make it easier to work the stitch. But yeah, those are the things I can say on this, but for now, I am very happy with this pillow. I really like pillows. I'm probably going to end up making more pillows in the future, because I just absolutely love it. And they're probably going to be fruit themed like this one. Again, you can pick whatever colors you want, how many seeds. size of seed. You can customize this whole project because it is a really easy project to make, and this is just how I happen to make it. So hope you enjoyed this tutorial video, and I hope you certainly will enjoy this pillow. So for now, that will be all for this video. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this tutorial and want to learn more about crochet, be sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss another video. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, and also share this video with your friends and family or on social media. And feel free to leave a comment down below. If you have any questions or suggestions or any feedback, I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, catch you later.